Yo, what's up, everybody? It's your boy CB. And yeah, I know it's been a minute since I came in and gave y'all a review. We've been going through the holidays and all types of things. So, I appreciate you riding with me, sticking with me through the downtime and returning back for what could possibly be one of the best reviews of the Wonder Years, because this episode was quite good. This is episode 8, and this is called the Science Fair. And one of the things that made this episode special for me was the fact that was you know done like in comic book fashion. So the theme of it was the science fair, and Dean starts off talking about how all the superheroes, some of the superheroes that started off as scientists, like Peter Parker, Hank Pym. He mentioned I can't remember who the other guy was that he mentioned, but that is a comic book theme. Oh, I'm sorry, that's what it was. David Banner. And of course, there are others like Tony Stark, Reed Richards. It's always some type of scientist that's doing experiments. Maybe he creates a way to be a superhero, or one of his experiments goes wrong, and he actually becomes a superhero from that. Dean even mentions that fact as he's working on this science project, and that that theme, I think is for anybody that ever read a comic book, or enjoyed comic books as a kid, or even as an adult. You really can relate to that. And this episode isn't just about the science fair, though. It's not just about uh, we get reintroduced to a character that we really haven't seen since the first episode, and that's Michael, the school bully, or at least Dean's personal bully, and we get a chance to look deep into his life and see what's going on with him. What happens is Dean's working, like I said, Dean started off working on the science project. Him and his friends are reading the comic book, which happens to be the Avengers versus X-Men issue. And Michael comes up, snatches it out of his hand, and a confrontation ensues. Now the problem with this confrontation is that it's being witnessed by a lot of people in the school, and as it's getting heated, Michael is beating on Dean, and his mom walks up and pulls Michael off of him. And they talk about the fact that back in those days, in the black community especially, any parent could discipline a child that's doing wrong. So that's what happens. And she wants to meet Michael's parents because he's beating on her child, and somebody's going to answer for that. And what she finds out is that Michael doesn't really have parents in his life. She takes him home and asks him who's supposed to pick him up, and he says his brother, who usually works late, and it's fine that he's home by himself. But it's alarming to Lillian, so of course she wants to do something about it, and she asks Dean, about his friend, and the first thing he says is, "That's not my friend." And all that type of thing is like a normal reaction for a parent, right? Because a parent's gonna see the things that are going on in this kid's life and want to do something about it. So her conclusion is that Dean is going to help Michael with his science project for school. She even goes so far as to dig out some of Dean's old, uh, science stuff to help him along. Dean's not really with it, of course, because he's feeling like his science project is the important thing, because he's trying to win the science fair this year. and he's really disappointed that his mom is making him help this guy that has done nothing but terrorize him. Now, one side note I have to mention is the fact that this episode was actually directed by Academy Award winning Matthew A. Cherry. Now, Matthew A. Cherry is a former NFL player turned director. He won an Oscar for a short film that he did for children about the hair, the hair of his daughter. It was actually based off of a book about hair, and the fact that he's directing this episode makes it even more special because I've watched his career blossom, over the years, and he came up pretty quickly as a director. And so, that along with the comic book theme really makes this episode special for me in particular. But with that said, just to continue, so Dean, makes a weak effort to help Michael. He doesn't. Michael's not really with it either. So Dean, he dismisses it. And when he gets home that day, Michael is actually there already talking to his mom. His mom's helping him out, help guide him through this project. So, Dean's feeling dejected. He doesn't understand why his mom is trying so hard to help this kid. I mean, he stays over for dinner. It's just making Dean's life miserable. So it's finally the day of the science fair, and Michael's got his project set up. And Dean actually, at this point, he's kind of like, I get it a little bit. And he wishes Michael luck in the science fair and goes and sets up his own project. Now, keep in mind, Dean is kind of arrogant about the whole situation where he's, really expecting to win and wow everybody with his project because he's got a damn pack. He's got a great concept. He's laughing at the other kids doing the run of the mill stuff like the baking soda volcano and stuff like that. And Michael, they show Michael presenting his project to the judges, and he does a pretty decent job. He's a little hesitant at first, but he does a decent job of presenting how it works and everything. And they're pretty impressed because Michael is, not one of the better students in class. So they're impressed just by the fact that he's put forth some kind of effort. And then they show when Dean presents his project. And even though his concept is good, his explanation is good, his project doesn't quite go off the way that he had planned. And of course, since this is seventh grade science, pretty much the whole school's laughing at him right now because his project didn't come off the way that he thought it would. And he's really embarrassed. And one of the people laughing at him is, of course, Michael. Because, even though they've quote unquote bonded over this time, Michael's still Michael. And, everybody else is laughing. So Michael's laughing too. And but what Dean did next was kind of foul in the fact that he exposed Michael in front of the whole school about what his actual problem was about his mom, being in a mental institution, and that hurt Michael pretty deeply. And even after he did it, Dean even felt bad for doing it because he may have got the upper hand on Michael, finally, but it wasn't the right way to do it. And so he sees Michael in school. Michael doesn't even bother beating him up. He just kind of ignores him when he tries to apologize. And Michael also goes back into school when he sees Lillian outside waiting on Dean. He doesn't want to have anything to do with the Williams family at this point because they kind of put him on Front Street. So, all in all, like I said, this is a good episode to me. The name of it is Science Fair, and it's kind of a double meaning there, even because it wasn't really fair the way that Lillian kind of took Michael under her wing over Dean, thinking that Dean could get his project together because he's used to doing it. He's got all the advantages of having both parents at home, living a pretty good life, and Michael doesn't. So, and in the end, they still were trying to help Michael, by donating some clothes to him and some stuff like that. So, the Williams family, they did have good intentions. Dean kind of messed it up with his, embarrassing moment. And that's the way kind of life goes, right? So it wasn't a thing where you could, definitely define it as a good episode, a good deed or a bad deed. It was just, you know, a process of life. And I think doing something like that, whereas, it kind of leaves it with some type of moral ambiguity. I think that is I said ambiguity, I meant ambiguity. But the point is that I think those are the real type episodes that really hit home and people can really relate to. So as always, I want to know what you think about it. Leave your comments, hit me up on Twitter and Instagram at the Rude Educator. Hey, my name is CB. It's good to be back. I'll holler at y'all next time. Peace.